Hello, beautiful muse. Welcome back. Welcome back to our 13th episode in the Sanctuaries Phoenix Priestess podcast. Today's episode is a real dear one to me. I've been in a cocoon of prayer and of practice. Prayer of calling in more deeper alignment with my soul and with God and my soul's work, as well as calling forth that I get a lot of signs. Like God show me signs all the time, and I've been receiving them. So this podcast is for the mystics out there, the mystics who want to share their messages. I was going to say message, but you see how I caught myself. Their messages in whatever shape, way, or form. I do have to say, and I do have a question. I do have to say that I've been noticing that in the last year, most of the women who've crossed my path, who've literally come to where I live, or I've run into, or I've called forth, are all women who are wanting to write a book, to write something down to share with others, to communicate their message through the written form. And so, if that is one of you, I welcome you, I celebrate you, share it with us. Yes, this earth needs your sacred soul salve. It needs it. We need to be anointed by your words, by your messages in this new era. This is an era where we mystics are being called forth to show up. And it can be in the most minute details, like I said in episode 12, of how we clean our home and how we speak to each other and how we speak to our children. And that doesn't mean that we don't not say no, but it does mean of where it's coming from, where our intentions coming from, are our actions coming from alignment, even if they're messy. Are the things that we're creating, are they with integrity and coming with a deep gratitude? And is what we are doing also in service to another human being or to a system? And so, beautiful mystics out there, if you have a message, this is your time. I spoke about Pluto in Aquarius, I believe in the first or second, one of the first episodes. You're going to have to go back and check, where this is a transformative time where things, structures are being completely demolished by death because it's time for them to die. That's one of the reasons why I called this podcast the Phoenix Priestess Podcast, because in our own death, and death can symbolize so many different things, but in our own undoing, something new can be remade. And the priestess is she who anoints. She is literally the leader of the sacred rites of passages in holy forms across the earth. The priestess has been known as officiant. I don't know if that's a word right now. Like she is the one that celebrates rites of passage. She is the one that literally anoints others. I call forth that we are in a time where we are self-priestessing ourselves. I call forth a time when we remember that we are holy, that we are holy, that we are enough, that we are already anointed, that we come into this beautiful vessel of a body already being anointed. So that already is. But we're also in a time where we are re-priestessing parts of ourselves. back into wholeness. And so I welcome us to do that. If you're doing it through your words, if you're doing it through your art, if you're doing it through parts of yourself that are given in service of humanity, of love, of compassion, of forgiveness, of union. And so today's podcast, the idea came through because I literally called forth a beautiful mystic who came to my home through a dear mutual friend. I did not know her. And when we started talking, oh my God, we were like in heaven. It's like heaven on earth conversation where I was spewing human design. She knew exactly, she was spewing back. And then we were talking about astrology and numerology and archetypes and God and trauma, but not the story. Like there was no staying in the story. It was like a new tale is being told in the moment. And we were having so much fun and joy and laughter and cracking jokes. And I was probably cursing. And at some moment, we started talking about, well, first of all, she was also so beautifully reclaiming her spiritual self, her spiritual soul-filled self that is here to speak and share and to space hold and to create new messages for the new earth. And so she was claiming that more so. And while we were just talking, I was sharing about the mystic woundings. And so today's episode is that I want to share four mystic woundings that I see in the mystic archetype. And it can be seen collectively as well, but this one I'm referring to, this transmission is specifically for our mystics, and it relates to all of us. Okay, it really does relate to all of us. Now, the mystic is she, he. It is they who are here to live out the sacred experience of feeling oneness with God and all that God is. So, all that God is, not just like this airy fairy, but everything that comes from God, which is basically everything. And so the mystic is willing to literally like surrender themselves to God over and over again, for God to come through and speak and to remind and to reawaken us to love over and over and over again. Every time we think that we are separate, that we think that we are better than, that we think that we are holier than, that we think that we know. Like the mystic is also here to remind us of deep compassion, of grace, of mercy, of our humanness. And so the four woundings, and why is it important? It's important because in sharing our messages and our arts, you're going to face layer and layer and layer of these woundings within yourself. I've been facing them for forever. I've had times where I didn't face them and I hid. Remember the secrets, so many secrets and secrets that I still have and will have. But to air out these woundings, it just gives it the light. We just say, well, yes, we are not alone. And that brings me to number one. The first main mystic wounding is the feeling that we are alone. Because in coming in human form, we do the forgetting. Also, go back to one of the first episodes where I talk about this as well. And it's one of like the core messages where the mystic, if the mystic doesn't remember from day one and stays in that remembrance, it's one of forgetting, right? Forgetting that we are divine, and one of remembering in this lifetime. And so we feel alone, we feel abandoned, we feel outcast because we see society and we see pain and we see suffering and we see trauma and drama, and we're like, we're checking out. We did not sign up for this. We don't believe in this. We don't believe in war. But the war within ourselves, we're still living. And so the mystic wounding is that remembrance that we are not alone. And at the same time, we are alone. Alone, the etymology is all in one. So inside of us, we have all that we need. And so that is the wounding and the remembrance. The wounding that, yes, we are alone. We are birthed alone, and we leave. When we die, we leave alone. And yes, we will have a life filled with love and with others, but remember that we actually do come in alone, and we do leave alone, and we do have all that we need inside of us. And so that mystic wounding of like, oh, I am alone, nobody understands, that is not true. It is not true. And layer by layer, I invite us to remember that it is not true, that God is always listening, that your soul is always waiting for you to come back home, that the angels, the spirit guides, your ancestors, whoever it is that is in your realm to support you, they're also waiting. They're just waiting for the phone call. That life every day can show up to show you with the beautiful signals that are yours to see in order for you to share them as your sacred soul songs. And so on that note, I'm going to read to you from my first poetry book, my poem that's actually called Alone. Just in case my daughter's dog is licking herself in the background with lots of satisfaction while she's doing it alone. In this time where we believe there is nowhere to go, there is a place to turn. There is a place to turn. No longer a time to wait for the doctor, the priest,